Alright, welcome everyone. We're Semblance of Sanity. I'm Caleb.
I'm Jacob.
And of course, we're here for
Psychopaths.
And we had a very creepy cliffhanger
Yes.
last episode.
Just a little bit.
Just a little bit worrisome.
Yeah.
So we have Makishima fostering the creative talents of a bright young woman.
I am all for helping people go after their dreams, especially when they're, along those artistic pathways that are so rarely supported in our day and age, but that's a bit much.
That's a bit much. Now, we talked a little bit about the potential of it being something where the girls, or this girl in particular,
related.
No, this girl actually consenting to the idea of being a living piece of art or a dead piece of art. Yeah. But I guess we'll find out this episode, won't we?
That's true.
Yeah. So without further ado, let's get into it.
I've got good news, Mr. Oreo. Your daughter's come to see
Oreo.
Oreo.
I'm sure this is hard, but your father does know you're
Creepy.
here, and it makes him happy, even if he can't express it. You shouldn't get discouraged, okay?
Okay.
Yeah.
So it's not Makishima's daughter.
Right.
It's all a big lie. Everyone here's the same. They don't notice anything, don't say anything, don't think anything.
Is he just a
Just empty
vegetable?
shells.
Wow.
Soon they'll disappear altogether, like the melting snow. This epidemic leads innocent and well-meaning people to their deaths. But it's a pathogen that will never be wiped out, because we're the ones who create it. The disease is serenity. The slow death we've wished upon ourselves.
I've seen this. The MO.
Oh, it's the symbol of the
Oh, wow. Yeah.
it's the symbol system. I just realized that.
They brought their handiwork.
How did we not notice that earlier?
I have to take you off this case, Kogami. I'm sorry.
Are you
Yeah.
serious?
That makes sense.
I need people who aren't clouded by their own preconceived theories about the case, at least at the start.
But sir, we're not sure yet.
At least
if
at the
this is
start.
connected to this
No, but yeah, that was a very good distinction.
So I'm on standby at HQ.
That's right.
Huh.
Inspector Tsunomori,
Yes, sir.
it seems you know the circumstances we're dealing with. I need you to keep an eye on Kogami at all times now. Make sure he doesn't do anything stupid. That's your job in this case.
Yep. That building.
Here's what we
It's where it's
Yeah.
all going to go down at the end.
It literally is the Dark Tower.
Yep. Yep. Get your frustration out doing something physical.
Physical.
It's enough. I think you won.
Dang.
Whoa, you've got the sparring program set to the highest level there is and you still crushed it. Are you sure you're not a cyborg, Mr. Kogan?
I get knocked out cold from a paralyzer. I'm human, weak like everyone else.
Yet he dented the metal
do know
head.
property management isn't going to be happy about this.
It's their fault for building that piece of crap.
Jeez. Rule of cool much?
Yeah. She's like, let me get a closer look at those abs.
Is there a reason you keep staring at me?
No, sorry.
Huh?
But the Dominator was designed to neutralize any threat. Do you really need to spend so much time in here on your combat training?
Damn right I do. Its power just means I have to train more. A person should always be stronger than the weapon they hold. It's not the Dominator who kills someone, it's the person who pulls the trigger. My
Oh.
training doesn't let me forget that. It keeps the pain here where it always should be.
I see.
I like it.
So is that
Yep.
supposed to be a lesson for me?
If I have it my way, you won't have to take anyone's life. I'll carry that weight. Did you come for a reason?
Okay, I'll get
I'll
to
carry
First,
that
will you
weight.
Wipe
Yeah.
off that sweat and put a shirt on, please?
You see the picture of his body?
Yes.
And you read how the killer posed his corpse beneath the holographic illumination.
Yes.
Do you know what kind of illumination it was?
Sorry, no, I don't.
It was an ad for a pharmaceutical company. Safe stress care, taking you to a world without suffering.
Wow.
Analysis showed that before Sasayama was turned into a plastic specimen, he was dismembered while he was still alive. He felt every
Jeez.
cut. It's like the killer was sending a message. There is no world without suffering. That's all life is. I wanted that monster to feel every stab of pain he'd caused Sasayama. Once I started feeling like that, there was no coming back, and from that day on, my career as an inspector was over.
Yeah,
Do you regret
that'd do
going
it.
Too far?
I can't regret being involved in this case. It's my job. My regret is not solving it. That's what I can't take.
Kozaburo Toma's accomplice 3 years ago. The man you say is the mastermind. Are there any leads we might still be able to use to find him?
Yeah.
Come to my wall of crazy.
Right.
There's a picture Sasayama took.
Oh,
Blurry, though.
I saw that picture in the previous episode.
Image saved on his terminal.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
This man in the picture. Do you know anything more?
Good. So it's not its old
File
partner.
for the image.
Right.
Makishima.
Oh.
You can't know despair, then you can't know hope. My father used dismembered bodies as the subject of his paintings to
What the
symbolize
heck?
contradictory nature of the self. I had so much respect for my father. He understood his
Who is
obligations
that
as
in
an
bed with
artist,
her?
and for years he tried to
Yeah.
use his creations to enlighten humanity. When it comes to talent, I still think he was brilliant. That's what makes it worse. That's why I can't forgive him for abandoning his duty halfway through.
Okay.
Eustress deficiency cerebral infarction. That won't be the official entry on any death certificate, but it is the most accurate. It's said to be the real cause of most deaths of this kind.
Oh.
They call it heart failure from an unknown cause.
I've heard
Whoa.
of this condition. They say it's a side effect of excessive stress care.
Wow.
For some time, researchers have understood that moderate stress has beneficial effects. It boosts the immune system, for example. Stress motivates us and prepares us for action.
That's true.
It compels our body to survive. However, routine psychopath checks take our stress away from us. There are patients whose stress reaction is so numb, they can't even recognize basic stimulation of their senses.
Oh my gosh.
Okay.
It's a neurological downward spiral. They become like living corpses. Eventually, their autonomic nervous system stops working and their vital functions shut down.
It's sad what we've become, isn't it? We are now capable of caring for ourselves to the point that we actually regress as living beings. We're killing ourselves with good intention.
Wow.
So,
The fact is, as remarkable as our medical advancements have been this century, the average lifespan is actually decreasing. The statistics make it very clear. But the public will probably never hear about that.
Well, that's hardly shocking. In this era, everything that could be called a true reason for living has been methodically removed.
He was a genius illustrator. He created vivid, cruel nightmares using broken female bodies as motifs. From his art, you might assume he was some twisted sadist, but he was actually a strictly moral man. That's not uncommon, that disconnect between the creator and the impression their creations give, but in Roichi's case, it was rooted in a firm ideology. According to
Which
him,
was what?
mankind could only control the cruelty in our nature by fully confronting it. If he forced us to look unflinchingly at the darkest depths of the human heart, he could foster the goodwill and reason necessary to quell those baser impulses. He believed his
Okay.
artistic purpose was to enlighten humanity and challenge us to grow.
That's a lofty goal.
but what you focus on, you find.
Yep.
But then the world changed. The spread of psychopath assessments made that kind of self-examination
The Beethoven in the background is great.
We didn't have to control ourselves
Yeah.
anymore. The machine assessments could maintain our mental health for us. And while the technology robbed his art of its purpose, I heard Roichi actually welcomed it. Like I said, he was a moral man, and his own success was never the point. His ideal of humans having a healthy mind had been achieved. The way it happened was irrelevant. Still, it wasn't easy. His mission was over and his life no longer had meaning. He was welcoming the change that would ruin him.
That's surprising. Some artists say they're above fame, but I don't believe I've heard of one who actually meant it.
Well, part of him meant it at least. Internally, he was conflicted, and he resorted to all sorts of state-of-the-art stress care methods to quiet the growing turmoil. His daughter tells me that he became dependent on the treatments over time. Stress care was an
And it just destroyed him.
break.
Yep.
Instead, it broke him, didn't it?
Yep.
Turned him into a living corpse who couldn't even sit up in bed.
Considering how much Rikako loved her father, I imagine she felt his decline was unforgivable. It's as if Roichi Oreo was killed twice. First, his talent was killed by science and technology, and then his spirit was killed by the culture that technology created.
You mean this young woman is committing these horrific murders to get revenge for her father? Is that it?
Well, who can really know what lies in another human's heart? I just hope she finds some meaning beyond revenge.
Chegu-san?
Jeez. The enhanced sounds.
Yeah.
Okay.
And this is at the school?
What mischief should we get into next to turn society on its head?
Ah.
Think about now.
I'm an agent of
I understand.
chaos.
I feel the same way.
Cool.
You and Mr. Makishima
This is disturbing, but
and we, the mischievous children, get to play a game of shake up the world. The fun's addictive, don't you agree?
Well, for we who run the toy store, just watching you brats play is all the fun we need.
oh.
I
Yep.
see. Then you're in luck because they should be discovering my second bit of mischief any moment. You should keep an eye on the news.
I tingle with anticipation.
It's a shame, though. You always leave before the real fun begins. Are you sure you don't
Oh
wanna stay?
crap.
Unfortunately, I'm a weenie when it comes to blood. She's been absent from school for 3 days in a row.
And they don't get anything from the news.
You're worried about her. You care about your friends more than anything, don't you?
We've known each other since we were little girls. That's her.
Friendship between girls can be wonderful, don't you think? I have a feeling it could become a very exciting motif. It could be a great addition to my Yoshika piece. I'm so glad you chose to come by.
Yep, there we go.
Told you. Drugs.
Mm-hmm.
Drugs. Yikes.
A touching reunion with her childhood friend. It plucks at the heartstrings, doesn't it? Why, I think I could almost cry.
Crap.
I want to recreate this emotional scene in a place where more and more people can see it and be touched. I guess that's the fate of an artist, isn't it? That ever-growing need to share with the world.
Whew. Well,
So,
it's getting linear. That's for
is.
sure.
It definitely is.
Okay, I didn't write a thing down. I was so enthralled by the,
Yeah, play of the game, Makishima and his monologue. Like,
yeah. That's good that they're doing this, because too much in cop shows of, of any type, they kind of assume that the viewer is not as intelligent, and they make it about, who is the bad guy?
right.
Whereas
Whereas
this, we're
they're
getting
like-
everything. We're getting
Yep.
the psychology, the mindset, the reasons why, and the
Yep.
depth, and everything parallel to the
Yes.
protagonists and stuff in a very linear fashion as things are moving forward.
Right.
Wow.
Now, I am a little bit. How should I say? I'm a little bit worried about this new character because since it's moving into a linear fashion, right? Linear progression.
Right.
Will she end up being like a main henchman of the bad guy?
No.
I hope not, because I don't want her to get really much more screen time and focus than she has already.
No, I have a very abstract reasoning as to why she's actually a huge portion of the story. Do you get that the whole idea of the artist's message?
Yes.
The
I
point
thought that
of
was-
this
yeah,
is
I-
to mirror what Makishima is doing.
Right.
Makishima
Yes.
is not an artist,
No.
but definitely has a message for the world
Right.
and needs to put it out there on display for
Yep.
others to see, to ponder, to
Yes.
critique, to absorb.
Right.
And that element basically puts into puts into play a very unnerving sense of dread, particularly within me, that he is going to win over some of the protagonists at some point.
And I hope that happens, because that will give us a lot of amazing character interactions.
Yeah.
So, because in the case of someone like, say, the girl that they have so far that's killing people, I mean, she's creepy and she's, disturbing and all that stuff, but she's more have been used to help develop Makishima, which is awesome. But her as a character so far, not exactly very interesting. But if we have something like, not to that extreme, because then it wouldn't make sense, but something like that happen with one of the pre-established main characters, that would be like, whoa.
Well, the whole thing is the contagious aspect of this behavior, this aspect of human nature spreading is really compelling. I don't see the character herself as being, anywhere close to as compelling as Makishima, but Makishima basically confirmed that he is looking at this whole situation from someone who's distanced themselves and is observing for the sake of understanding humanity.
Yeah.
And his monologue / conversation / kind of musing with the
whoever that was,
bartender priest looking guy.
I'm not
sure. It was interesting. He had a very distinct outfit.
I almost wonder if he's one of the people that runs the school. Probably not, but it's like, but it's one of those things that makes me wonder, because if all these kids are going missing and their bodies are turning out mutilated, first off, their parents would pull them out of the school because they know that basically there's a serial killer there.
Right. Yeah, Jacob, I can tell you're feeling a little bit peeved about the convenience of the fact that these girls are disappearing and no one seems to care, really.
Yeah, I get that,
and they're turning up dead somewhere else, too.
Brutally dead.
Yeah.
I get that a high school in an anime, it needs to happen at least once, but...
Yeah, the Psychopaths team could be keeping these cases and kills, off the public radar.
Possibly.
I'd say it actually makes a lot of sense, because you wouldn't want to spread that kind of deviant art.
That is an excellent point. With something like the civil system, how much censoring of the media is there? Right?
Probably quite a lot. I would say that's probably one of the first places you start in general, whenever otherwise, you have a society based on censorship. It's based on security. Come on. Yeah.
Right.
So here's the part that got really interesting, was the whole stress care syndrome thing that led to heart failure, quote unquote. That is very interesting, because we were talking about psychopaths earlier, right?
Yeah.
This is not that, but it is something similar where someone was dealing with stress and removed the problem of, say, cortisol levels being imbalanced by medication. It's like, okay, that's fine. You have balanced cortisol levels. That will actually make you healthier in general. But if you permanently balance your cortisol levels, we don't know what actually that would be like in the real world here. I'm sure that some scientists do, but we don't.
Right.
It could go the way that they're talking about.
Yeah.
And that's kind of those things where they're using real world knowledge with just that added bit of what if little bit of what if this little bit of sci-fi stuff happened? Would it lead to a place where people would become vegetables? It makes me think of Firefly, actually, to some extent, where where the Reavers were created. I mean, this is a little bit of spoiler thing, but there's an instance where there was some drug put into a settlement to reduce the aggressive tendencies of people, and it had too much of an effect to where they became docile,
and they just ended up letting themselves die.
Yeah. And that whole aspect here is a reflection, or more a microcosm, of what's happening to society as a whole, according to Makishima.
Sure.
And that everyone is basically allowing themselves to regress intentionally because of the culture that this technology has perpetuated.
I never would have thought of Serenity. That's really good. What it made me think of was imagine Equilibrium, but without that whole question of how do they have drive. Because if you don't have emotion, you're not really going to have drive. You just won't.
Yeah, pretty much.
So if you actually had something like that was more realistic, like it is in Psychopaths, you would have people that would just waste away.
Yeah, to an extent, yeah.
Which makes Makishima's whole purpose, like, even though what he's doing is twisted, it makes the idea of helping people not waste away, that's something that you can sympathize with.
Yeah, not yet. To me, it's still a thing where this doesn't seem like it's a part of his goal. Whatever this girl is doing as her art means nothing to him.
Yeah, this is
really.
just a specific.
This is a distraction, if anything.
Yeah, he's just playing around.
Which, wow, it's curious because I want to, in my head, make him into some kind of Machiavellian, all this is according to my plan kind of character, but it doesn't work. He seems to be genuinely curious, playful, but this episode did give a little bit of that thing of, I've already solidified my opinion on society and I don't have anything more to learn from it.
Yes, but the thing is, you have to at least have a set worldview in order to actually take any action.
Not really.
Well,
I disagree.
Okay, but the idea is that this is just that was, since he was talking to really a nobody, like a character that was not previously introduced doing anything.
Sure.
I would say that was just an excuse to look inside his head.
Yes,
that's not saying that
absolutely.
everything's set in stone. That's just where he is right now. When he starts talking to all the other, like, the actual main characters,
right,
that's when we're going to get to see him, in...
Sure, this is a look at behind the scenes Makishima.
Exactly.
Makishima, or however you say his name. His point, though, about life expectancy means that this is something he's been looking at for a while.
That's true.
So I want to see at some point an episode where we go and see the evolution of his plan. Not just the point at which things changed for him, but where he went from doing this plastination stuff to the the point where he realized things were just out of whack, how things evolved and continued, how he recruited people.
All right.
But how is he attracting people like nails to a magnet if he's so invisible?
That's true.
I'm wondering if the avatar aspect is actually where he's recruiting people.
That would make a lot of sense.
And he just creates an environment that's just in the right kind of realm of bringing those people in. And then he tests them with specific kind of questions and other things like that.
Right, because if he really is some sort of like mastermind, Machiavellian, like you were saying, then all these little things that seem meaningless are actually connected.
Right.
Yeah.
I can tell that at least a couple of them are. I just don't see how all of them are.
Sure.
Yet, of course. But they've really made this linear now. Kind of going back to the structure stuff. This was a linear arc that we're going through.
Yeah, and there isn't necessarily an end in sight.
No, they could keep going multiple episodes from now. I could see them ending it in the next one because they showed us the secret hiding place within the school, which means that place is going to get raided probably next episode.
That's a great point.
Probably. But where are things going to slip up? Are they just going to draw the connection from the the father and then to the daughter, and then they'll do a basic kind of Hugh Psychopaths check, and then they'll be like, you have a very odd
if anything I would say it's surprising they haven't found them out already.
Yes. But we do know to an extent that the holographic technology allows them to take the form of anyone they want.
Yes, okay. Can I just say
that's huge.
That was huge. So here's what it's making me think of. All right.
Yeah.
So we had virtual reality, all that stuff, right?
Yes.
We had projection of holograms into other places.
Yep.
We had basically mechs.
Yep.
In that other episode. Now we have people using holograms to impersonate other people. We also have that fight between Kogami and the holographic warrior mech.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I don't think this is going to be something where Makishima is just trying to build some holographic mech army, because that doesn't seem like his style. But the fact that they have that many things that they've introduced as semi-plot points that are pretty closely related.
Yeah. Means someone else might make one.
Yeah, maybe that's what the Sybil system is going to start moving towards.
Oh.
Maybe they're going to get rid of inspectors and, and enforcers altogether.
Especially if they're just tracking DNA.
Yep.
That's making it very human versus machine type element.
Which would be really cool if they actually progressed to something where it was humans versus machines, as opposed to having that established in the premise. Because I can't think of a show or a story that did that.
Yeah, within the narrative of the first season. That would be fantastic. I could see that actually being a thing that carries over into the second season. And that's probably the redeemable aspect of the second season.
Okay.
Because right now, the show seems to be much more of a philosophical cat and mouse kind of thing. But that philosophical part kept waxing really strong with that talk between Makishima and whoever that other guy was.
That green-eyed dude or whatever.
Yeah. So, what do you think about that? Do human beings have a innate desire to go after the things that, are ultimately harmful for them, but because it's in small doses, it's okay?
To an extent, yes, because it gives the thrill. Because
what is the thrill?
Well, because whenever you're in danger, right, you get that adrenaline rush as a survival mechanism, right?
Sure. So
that's why, at the gym I go to, there will be personal trainers that are very, very healthy, but then they might go and ride, or go somewhere, and they'll want to do it while drinking, just because it's exciting.
Yeah, so is that connected to what the girl and I was trying to remember they said the name of the lieutenant guy with the cybernetic eyes.
Yes.
Yeah. But anyways, they said that it made them feel like children again. Basically that kind of excitement of them doing something wrong, and the world is kind of their playground, and they get to, show the world and kind of mess around with things and be, like you said, an agent of chaos in that regard. Do you think that is a part of Makishima's goal, or do you think that he is not an agent of chaos, he is much more directed?
I think his agent of chaos thing is a pastime.
Okay.
So that's not his whole purpose, because, if it was, just from a meta perspective, people wouldn't like him as much as they do now. Like they seem to, because it would just feel like a reboot of the Joker or something, right?
And we do not get the Joker vibe from him.
Not at all. No. So I'm guessing this is just what he's doing to sort of,
even if he's not a clown agent of chaos, he doesn't even give me the vibe of
an actual agent of chaos.
No.
Yeah.
Okay, well, so many questions, because I almost don't care about the actual plot of some of these episodes. It's really horrible what's going on with the girls at that school and stuff, and how this girl is completely sadistically manipulating everything. I get more interested in those things where they make those assumptions of, the morality of her father related to the art that he was making, that he had a strict code, and that he was actually believing he was doing the right thing, and Makishima kind of respects that. But in the end, there was something about it that was tearing him up inside.
Yeah.
For whatever reason, and then that led him to the drugs, which led him to his own destruction.
Exactly.
So maybe Makishima is aware of kind of the futility of the artists, the father and the daughter, in that respect there, but he respects the principle of the expression in that regard.
Sure.
And
I could see that.
That's such a more interesting thing to talk about than the actual plot of the episode sometimes.
It really is.
Because that rubs me the wrong way. That's just wrong. You can take expression to a point where you actually infringe upon other people's rights and freedoms.
Exactly.
And who cares about the magnitude? One of the things that I hold as a very deep, core value to myself is personal freedom. And one of the things that like the civil system basically restricts is personal freedom at the expense of other people's personal freedom. So it's cyclical, and this is the same respect. And this is the same thing. It's saying we have a duty to the world to express our message so that we can save the world. But in order to do so, we're going to take away the freedoms and liberties of these women that we're going to slaughter and chop up into pieces.
Yeah.
It's insane. It's psycho,
Yes.
But
yeah.
Is the show moving in a direction where it's trying to get us as the viewer to, at the very least, agree a little bit with the psychopathic tendencies of the antagonists?
Yes, I would say definitely.
Really? I don't think it's being that straightforward.
Well,
I don't think it's intending to be that straightforward. I just feel like that's what this arc is doing right now.
I think overall there will be parts where it does and doesn't, but that is something that will definitely be there. In a sense, I think that should be there in any story. You should, almost any story, you should have something to make the viewer, the reader, question the perspective of the villain. Because the idea is that
but I'm not saying about the villain. I'm talking about questioning our perspectives. Because of what the villain is.
Oh, actually question our perspectives? No. I think it's just to make us do a double take. If that makes sense.
Sure. Okay. I mean, I don't have any problem with it. I just find it to be quite hilarious when the antagonist waxes philosophically about the value of that, when there's so many other clever ways they could write it so that I do agree with the antagonist and kind of trick me into agreeing with him instead of being so kind of like, wow, dude,
because it's very kind of like in the first episode.
It's a little bit extreme.
It's a bit extreme.
Yeah. I mean, there's some intense imagery going on in here, and I think that's awesome. What's terrifying to me is that they're dwelling so strongly on this. It really makes me think about how this ties into Makishima's overall narrative and his probable arc.
Right,
because I'm seeing he's going through. Maybe. Could there be even a hint of an arc that he's actually beginning to go through, or are we just getting unveiled?
I don't think it's so much of an arc as just us learning more about him. It's like I
just wish he's going on an arc.
That would be very cool if he actually went on an arc, but I think in order to do that, he can't really go on an arc until he meets the heroes.
So we're getting introduced to him now, but once he meets the protagonist, we'll do a double check and see if he actually does seem to begin to go on an arc.
Yeah.
Okay. Any other final thoughts?
No.
Okay.
I think we covered it.
All right, guys. That was a fantastic continuation on this episode. Things are getting really intense, and I'm kind of sweating over here with the thought of where things are going. But that's it. Until next time, we're Semblance of Sanity. I'm Caleb.
I'm Jacob.
And we'll see you all next time.